What's up? We're back. Brand new episode, lighting breakdowns. Today we're going to be breaking down corporate interviews, corporate shots, anything I did remotely corporate. Sometimes you have limited resources. Sometimes you're doing things on the fly. So I thought this would be a great chance to kind of break down some interviews, some scenes, give you guys some insight into my thought process and the way I lit some of these corporate style videos. So get a few things out of the way. Most of these were shot on the Sony FX6. I really wanted to put the catazooms that I picked up through their paces. They're not just for documentary stuff. They're not just for commercial. These have really served me in my business. I actually can't praise them enough. The 35 to 80 kind of lives on my FX6 whenever I'm doing these shoots. If I'm doing an interview, I'll switch to the longer lens, the 70 to 80. But these capture such a clean image with a nice neutral vintage tone. Let's dive in. You can check them out and all these lighting breakdowns and see what you think. For the first one, we're gonna kind of go over, there's a local football club, Temecula Football Club. So we shot 4 interviews, 2 coaches, the owner, the player. Not only did I want to test out the catazooms on their ability, but I also got in a new diffusion material, a 6x6 of full grid. We built a 6x6 of full grid, just kind of T-bar diffusion, and that's over here just out of frame, and also using a Godox 600D. I believe it was at 100% because we were kind of competing with this outdoor light level. Same thing with this guy. Again, we just had the 6x6 frame over on camera right, just off of frame here. Again, T-barred. We shot a Godox 600D with a reflector. Again, I think it was at 100%. We brought down the Godox height-wise just to kind of get under his hat here, which usually is a problem. You never kind of want your key light to be up above them, and then the hat's casting weird shadows. You can't see the eyes. I probably next time would have definitely liked to use a half grid, especially this guy being of a darker skin tone. I think we were maxed out on the 600. The full grid was just eating a lot of light, and of course he's wearing some dark clothing. Coach Nacho. So this one was fairly similar. We had, again, that 6x6 of diffusion, seeing him here. Also, light levels were falling kind of a little bit dim in the background here, so I threw up a few of the tubes right here, one back here, set to a, I believe 3200, just to kind of mimic some natural kind of overhead lighting that you would see in this scene. But I wanted to keep everything pretty simple, so everything was usually for these a Godox 600D pushing through a 6x6 of full grid, and then supplementing with any sort of tube lights or overhead lighting that we needed. So this was a travel job. We did an interview. We were following a lawyer around. He interviewed someone at a local prison, and we were kind of getting some shots in the car, traveling to the car, doing some OTFs in the car. But this was the main interview. So I decided to leave this back door right here open, and so you could see out, kind of give a little bit of context. We were out in Arizona. You want to see this, a little bit of what's going on outside the window. Also, that's motivating our key light right here. You can see another window, big window here with some shears. Since we had to expose for the outside elements, all I had really was a Godox 150 pretty much right here, right out of frame on a giant softbox, keying his face right here. And that was almost at 100%. We also had a reflector over here on the left, kind of filling in these shadows, bringing up that ratio from key to fill side. Didn't want it to be too dramatic. I put the tube overhead and wanted to motivate that from the window here. So you had a nice daylight edge, you had a daylight key. Looking back, I probably could have raised the level on this lamp in the background. But the lamp was a Godox C7R, one of those, little light bulbs you can screw in. So I think this was at like 60 or 70%, which we're kind of losing in the corner there. For these last two shoots, it was pretty simple. We went bare bones gear. This was very run and gun, OTF style. They didn't have time to set up a bunch of stuff. There was like 2-3 hours of total time. I was supposed to interview them, get B-roll of them talking with people and mingling at this fun little event. So really all I brought was the tube lights. I wanted to get some nice leading lines that I used through, these nice windows. We were inside. They had some really pretty overhead lighting. So really the only thing I did was I took a tube light, got it really close to frame, and I set it to daylight, kind of motivating what these windows are doing, which we're getting that nice kind of daylight key. And then the practicals are really just kind of filling in a little bit on the shadow side, and that's where we're getting this kind of warmer tone on her face. For the exterior, again, we're exposing for the outdoor elements. I really just kind of put him in a place where it was a little bit shaded. We're getting, again, these nice leading lines directly to him, and then I had a daylight balanced tube, and that's where we're getting a little bit more of this kind of daylight key, and it's just also kind of wrapping around his face here. That was just to add a little bit of shape to his face, to what was already kind of going on naturally in the exterior. Corporate stuff is usually maybe not as artistic as some of the other stuff that we're normally using and normally kind of getting into. They're not giving us enough time to light a scene, to light things how we normally would, but I just wanted to walk you through a couple little processes and kind of things that I did recently, like a nice polished interview, and then one that's a little bit more kind of what you would have to kind of compromise and do on a travel gig, and then show you kind of what I would do for these smaller corporate jobs, run and gun, B-roll type situations. So that wraps it up for today's corporate lighting breakdown. Let me know in the comments below, what would you do differently? Do any of these things actually help? And hopefully you guys benefited and took something away from today. Catch you in the next one.